All right, so we are going to talk about the line of best fit. So it goes with scatter plots. So let's do some definitions real quick. So line best fit is a line. So it's a line that best fits. So it's a line that best fits the data in a graph. When drawing, there should be I guess this could be a period. When drawing, there should be the same number of points on either side. Right out of room on either side. So another thing is when adding the lines of best fit, not only should there be the same number of points on each side, but it should also go. So let's say why is one happening? Make sure the line goes through at least 2 points. Okay, so that's important because in normal times we would be finding the line of best fit given the 2 points that you draw your line through. We're not going to do that too often though. This year we're going to do it like once or twice. Okay, so let's look at these graphs down here, right? We want to draw a line of best fit, okay? And what we want it to go through 2 points. So I'm going to move my ruler around so it could go through 2 points. And remember, what we want it to be an even side with these points and these points. So when we draw this, we want it to have an even number. In this case, it's 4 and 3, so that's kind of close to even, right? And then we just draw our line. Draw our line. And I'm going to extend it out. Okay, so it goes through 2 points. It has an even amount of points on both sides. Oh, just erased my line. That sucks. It was 38. Yep. 2. Okay, so in that case we could. Let's look at the other one, the next one. We can go through the top and the bottom point again, and that would leave us with 3 and 4 again. So that's a nice even amount to go through. Okay. In this case, the y, oh, that's a little far up. Wonder. Oh, okay, yep, just erase that. Like right there. Perfect. All right, so I'm gonna draw my line. Okay. Make sure you draw little arrows to extend so I know it goes all the way. Looking at this third one, can I really, like, no matter where I put this, it's not really representing the data, right? I could put it across these 3 points, but there's too much up top. I could put it across these 2 points, but there's too much at the bottom. Like, the data doesn't really fit. I could put it there, it's in the middle, but do the other points, are they as tight around the line if I put it here as they are the other ones? Like, look at the other two. They're all right near the line, right? Whereas these ones, it's all over the place. So I can't really draw it. So like I drew it, but it's not a good best line of best fit because it doesn't really have a true sense of where all the points are because it's too far apart. But that's okay. We drew it anyway. Okay. So a lot of these today and this week that you'll see you're already going to have the line of best fit. So we have our graph and our table, and here's our line of best fit. They highlight 2 points it goes through. Now we need to interpret that, okay? So let's interpret it. So it says the line of best fit would be approximately what after 4, using the line of best fit, what would be the approximate DVD sales after 4 weeks? So we see weeks down here and we want to see 4. And where does that cross approximately my line of best fit at? Well, it crosses at this intersection, right? Which is here. So it's about 12 millions of dollars. I'm going to write 12 million. Okay, now we do the first one. Using the line of best fit would be the approximate number of weeks it would take to have $4 million of sales. Okay. So I think what we would do, right, is we want that $4 million. So we would go to sales in millions of dollars at 4. We'd cross over to our line of best fit. Happens right here. And how many weeks is that? Well, that's 8 weeks. Okay, that's 8 weeks. So remember, for this next one, we have to remember some vocabulary. What does the y-intercept represent? So do you remember what the y-intercept is? Do you remember what the y-intercept is? In case you don't, it's where it crosses the y-axis. So where does this cross the y-axis at? Well, it crosses the y-axis right here, right? When x is 0 and y is, in this case, 20. So what does that mean? Well, it means that after 0 weeks, right, because x is 0, after 0 weeks, the DVD sales are $20 million. Okay, so again, that's just interpreting. That's just taking that 20, which we know is millions of dollars, and then it's the sales and the weeks here, and just writing it out in a sentence. That's all that question was asking for. All right, let's go to the next one. What does the slope of the line of best fit represent? So what's happening in this? We don't need to find the exact slope because that's not what it's asking. It's just saying, what does the slope of the line of best fit represent? So think about this. As this increases, what's happening with the sales? As the weeks increase, what's happening with our sales? They decrease, right? So that's what we're going to say. We're going to say the more weeks, here I'm going to zoom in a little bit. The more weeks a DVD is on sale, right? The more weeks it is, the less it sells, right? The less it sells. So again, that's just looking at this and figuring out, okay, when one is going up, the other one's going down, and what type of correlation is that? That's our next question. Describe the relationship. So we just said what kind of the relationship was in D, or we described it. So what correlation is it? Well, it's going down, right? It's a downward slope, so it's a negative correlation. So it's a negative correlation. Okay, right? We've talked about those in the last one. Okay, so let's go to the next one then. So that was interpreting a line of best fit. Now we will need to predict with our equations. Okay, I'm going to do one with you, and I want you to do the other one on your own. Okay, so we have the scatter plot and the line of best fit show the relationship between the number of hours and the grade on our final exam. The equation is here. So we're going to use this equation that represents this line, and we're going to estimate, right? So based on the line of best fit, what grade would students expect if they studied for 2 hours? So if they studied for 2 hours. So like we did on the last one, in theory, we could go to time 2 hours and go up here and figure out what this number is. But we can't figure out an exact number in this case. So we're going to use our equation given above. And 2 hours, 2 is your x, right? So since we know 2 hours is our x, we're going to plug that in for x to find our grade, okay? We're going to have y equals 5x. Oh gosh, also the line set. 5x plus 55. So we have that x is equal to 2, right? Because it's on the x-axis. That's what time is. And it says 2 hours. So we're going to plug in a 2 plus 55. What is 5 times 2? Well, 5 times 2 is 10. What is 10 plus 55? 10 plus 55 is 65. So we would expect them to earn a 65% on the test. And that kind of makes sense because if you look here, this is kind of in the middle between 60 and 70, right? That kind of is a good estimate. And we probably could have estimated that one since it was nice and in the middle, but we didn't know that, right? All right, so hold on, guys. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing with B, but B is 6 hours instead. Okay, so at 6 hours, where does it cross? Okay, so we know it's got to be above 80. So let's plug it into the formula. Y equals 5x plus 55. I'm going to zoom in so I have more room to write. We're going to plug in 2, not 2. We're going to plug in 6, right? Because it says, why is this not moving? Because it says 6 here. I'm going to plug in 6 for x plus 55. 5 times 6 is 30 plus 55. What is 30 plus 55? That's 85, right? So this is 85%, which does kind of line up with where it was over here, right? Okay, so I want you to do the similar process, but I want you to do it for a children's height and their age. So you're going to take these two numbers, the 3 and the 9, plug them in for x in the equation, and find their height. Okay, so I want you to pause and try A on your own and unpause, and I'll have all my work up there, and then we'll go over B in class together, okay? So pause and try A. So try age 3 for me. All right, so hopefully you got 31 inches. You plugged in 3 for X, and then you multiplied 10/3 times 3, which became 10. 10 plus 21 is 31. Make sure you label your answer. Since it says inches over here, I'm labeling it 31 inches. Okay, I want you to try B. So we'll go over that in class. So try B for me.